Hello everyone, welcome to Past Preserver. Just drug in this Max 6x6. Isn't it cool? It's amphibious. You can take it off into the water and it'll float. Has a nice big bumper on the front. And these things are fairly quick due to the 440 Kohler engine that's in the rear. This is a two-stroke, like a snowmobile engine. Look at that. It's all chain drive, skid steer transmission. That's kind of cool. We'll get up to here. You have a forward, neutral, and reverse on the transmission, and then you just pull back on these. Your throttle is right there. Of course, it all needs fixed. We'll get in on that here. You have a spot for a recoil, although it's missing, so you could wrap a string around it. If the starter, it does have electric start, does not work, we'll be doing it that way. The previous owner said he had it up and running. Well, not really. He had some gas down the carb that fired up last winter, so this thing should be a runner. Looking at this boot here, it's been taken apart more than once, and it might be like the four-wheeler I had where I need to replace this whole boot out. So I haven't really done any research on this. Kohler 442 AMS. So yeah, need to see how hard this thing is to find parts for. The main drive belt looks like it's in okay shape. We should be able to run with it. Got to make sure all the chains are loose. But the rest of it doesn't look too bad. The muffler is not all rotted out, even though it's pretty rusty. We're going to have to come back here and spray paint this. All the wheels on this side are garbage. Thankfully, they're 8-inch rims. We may throw lawnmower tires on it for the minute because this is going to get pricey, replacing all these tires. We'll have a look at the shell here in a minute too. Here's all the wiring. It comes up here. And then the fuel line, because the tank is in the front as well. Moving on to the body, it's in pretty good shape overall. It's missing the stickers. We'll have to see if we can find those. The gas tank, I don't think you can really see down in there. It's rusty at this front bit, and it's not too bad down in the tank itself. So we should be able to clean this up. We'll have to take it off there, of course, and work some magic. The front windshield, this did have a clip-on go-around snow cab for it. I don't have that, but this windshield will close down, and that's neat. Have a roll bar, and this ought to polish up fairly nice. Up in there, it might have lost its chrome, but I think the majority of it's going to look okay. It's got the seat, even a seat belt for you. The dash is fairly simple. There's a little grab handle here, tray, on off for lights, on off for kill switch, push button starter would have been there. Although it looks like it originally had a key switch and a reserve on the fuel tank. No, or is that just on off? I guess it's just on off. We'll have to look at that and figure out how all that goes. There's the tag over there. Model Max 2 5740 is the serial number. Gross weight 1,200 pounds. Capacity 2 persons. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I can agree. It is pretty heavy too. Oop, we're gonna have to get some armor roll on that. Try and bring this seat back around. Looks like they may have had lights mounted or something there. Possibly up here too. There's some holes. Coming around to the back, it's in pretty good shape overall. We're missing one light. There's a tear out here. I believe that they probably had a recoil, judging by how dug down that is. The recoil is missing on the engine itself, you know, for pulling out here. So that makes me wonder if the starter's bad or if they just always killed the battery, or maybe the charging system's not good. Not sure. Missing a little tail light lens. That's nothing. Those are everywhere. That's an easy part to find. I might actually have one laying around somewhere. The headlights are in pretty good shape. Front end looks good. The only other spot I saw that had a little crack starting was right here, and somebody put a rivet in it. So, oh, there was already a rivet there. So, not bad. Now, we're going to move on to getting that thing cleaned up. So I'm going to grab me some gloves, Venom Steel, now with real spiders. And I'm going to see about digging all these greasy, oily leaves out of the bottom here. so we don't have a fire. And then we're going to pressure wash it all off. Let's see how much we can get out of here. Well, I found out the drain plugs are out. There's one there and one there. So we got to remember that if we decide to take this in the water. Now we're going to hit it with the pressure washer. Well, it cleaned up pretty nice. It didn't seem to be leaking water anywhere because we're still holding it inside the tub. Need to clean these drain plugs out, let it drain some. I may hit it with pressure washer a little bit more. So I ended up cutting a bunch of that out, but we got it pretty well drained. A lot of that dirt, and there were a bunch of nuts, you know, all sorts of things that critters had brought in over the years. So yeah, found a couple pennies too. We're gonna have to see what years these are. The other one's on the hood of the truck over there. Didn't want to lose it. So where do we go from here? I think what I'm gonna do is try and figure out which of these tires will hold air and get at least maybe 4 tires so this thing will roll around somewhat easily. Ended up jacking the front end up. That's a little sketchy. I don't think I'm going to trust that, but it worked good for draining the water. So let's see how many of these will hold air. This one actually is. That's good. Number 2. This one seems to be. Number 3 definitely doesn't have anything in it. So we have 2 that are holding air. See if number 3 will take any. That's not quite gonna work, is it? Well, we have 3 holding there. She kind of rolls. That's good. That should be good enough to move it, I think. Well, I was really hoping we could have had 4, but let's see how hard this is to push. It is pushable. So, oh yeah, she'll move. Cool. Okay. Now, turning it's another issue. But the plan is we're going to throw it up front in that area. Hello everyone, welcome to Past Preserver. What do you think of the new sign? Today we're going to be working on the Max 2 6x6. Got a few other things going on around here too. It's all coming together. Toolbox and stuff. It's exciting. But right now we're working on this 6-wheeler. It has a Kohler 440 in it. It's a 2-stroke snowmobile engine. I just mixed up some fuel, doing some research online. It was like 24 to 1, 32 to 1. People kept being around there. So we're gonna go 24 to 1. I did a 2-gallon tank, so that was 11 ounces of oil. Is what we're gonna run in this. If you have one of these, let me know what you run in it. Some people were saying 50 to 1. That sounds a little light to me for what it is. So the first thing we're gonna do is come back here to the carburetor and see about cleaning it. Then we'll see if the starter wants to work. If not, we can wrap rope around there and pull start it. It has a battery in here. Don't know what shape it's in. I know it's dead, but we'll see how dead and see if we can get this thing running in this video. Having a hard time finding a good angle for you guys. I have a feeling I'm going to need a new boot here. This one's just not in very good shape. What we're going to do, we're going to loosen this up and see if we can just slide this whole carburetor off, but I have a feeling I'm going to take these bolts and this whole boot in one piece. So how this is going, looks like we have a vacuum line going in up top here. This here seems to be threaded on. Yeah, we're gonna have to unthread that for the throttle cable, and then there's a little screw down here that also has to come off. That might be difficult. We have this big guy, and I'm hoping the carb can just come off here when we loosen this. Aha! That couldn't have been easier, could it? Yeah, she's a little bit corroded up in there, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Decisions. Definitely want to crack this bowl off, but first let's see about getting this throttle cable off. So we also the fuel line, which is down here, flathead screw. It's gonna be difficult. Yeah, it sure is. I need to get my pliers here. In the future, I want to have a miniature toolbox set up, so I just got all this stuff ready to go for videos. But right now, we're just working with, oh man, that's not very good, is it? Yeah, that is not really good. We may just cut this line, cut our losses on this. Yeah, we're going to cut this line off here. I don't see that. Well, or we'll just rip it. Okay, we still got to cut that end off. Let's see about getting this loose. Hopefully that'll come fairly easy. Screwdriver here. And I'm probably going to need that pair of pliers. Yep, sure am. Let's see if this is enough to do it. I don't know if you're in frame yet. Yep, it sure is. Okay, there goes our throttle cable. Oh, I'm still in frame. Yeah, we're good. Then we want to loosen up this big nut. Should I go get normal pliers? Probably. But she's coming. I'll go grab a normal pair, I think. Yeah. It's loose though, that's the main thing. Normal-ish. Want to go all vice grip style on it. Be enough to be finger loose. Alright. Aha! There we go. Don't lose that bracket. That is for the choke. So that just slips in there. That would have been nice to know in the first place. And here we have our carburetor. Let's go ahead and take this off too while we're at it. That almost looks like a homemade, it's galvanized. Almost looks like a homemade cover on there, but I don't think it is. Oh, looking around the edges, it looks like it's been cut out pretty rough. Hard to say. Well, down in there looks pretty clean. That's good. Air breather, not all clogged up real bad. Cool. It's been into before. That shouldn't have a nut underneath it. Spring works. Let's just crack the bowl off and see what we're looking at in here. And yeah, we'll take you, darn, I don't really have a good work table yet. We'll figure something out. Well, we're just going to use the tray of the toolbox with a light kind of rigged up there. And hopefully you guys can see what's going on. I've never been into one of these before. I know there's diaphragms and stuff up here. I'm not sure what we're looking at down here. So looking at the screw heads, this thing's been into a time or two before. One loose. I did spray everything down pretty heavy with WD and PB Blaster. It's had them both. Because you never know on this stuff how long it sat outside and how corroded it is. Take note of where these screws go in. I think they're all going to be the same size, but sometimes they're different lengths depending on what you're working on. And you don't want to have too long of bolt going into a blind hole and then it's sticking out, or you send it in, you crack the housing. Definitely stuff to take note of. I have a feel like these will all be the same size. Looking that way. Not sure if this back plate's going to have to come off for this bowl to drop. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, they are all the same length. All have lock washers. Make sure you don't lose any of those. Oh, and she dropped right on down. That doesn't look too bad in there. We can clean it up a little bit. There's the little needle. Oop, there it goes. That doesn't look real bad. It was loose in there. The gasket is still up there. That's good. Rubber, the gasket is still in place. This little arm was over the needle. So what we're going to do, take some WD or some brake clean or whatever you got, and all these little passages, we're just going to blow through them, make sure they're open. I don't want to get spray all over my toolbox, so we're going to spray this out over here. We'll start at the bottom. I don't really see a whole lot. There's a hole here. Looks like it's a hole at least. Maybe not. Let's try this one. Hard telling. Tell you what, if it's clogged up good. Let's have a look at these. There's a jet back here. We'll hit that. If you can see it spraying out, that's good. There's a spot here. And one here. Honestly, this might be easier off camera. I'm gonna have to double check all these, make sure they're going the way I want them to. It all seems to be okay though. So we might have lucked out. I don't know how the fuel pump is. We'll see how it runs, and then we might look into getting new gaskets and stuff for that. I'm gonna look a little closer on this though. It's hard to do this and be in camera, and I know other YouTubers can do it real well. I'm still trying to figure all this out, the best way to do this, and show you guys what's going on. We can leave this plug in. We'll play with it later if we need to. I don't want to mess with any adjustments just yet. So let's go over what I learned while I had this apart. We've got 3 jets here, little holes, and then 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. These 2 up high. It's only on the back that we have the bottom one. You have a jet up high here going through. Make sure that's clean. There's a through hole right here, and that goes out to this jet. And that's it for the top. Moving on to the bottom, this little guy doesn't seem to go anywhere. It just seems to kind of click in with what's up top. This here just sprays the fuel around. The bottom screw was in a half a turn. I went ahead and took it out to help clean out down there. There's a brass washer that will come off when you take this off. Don't lose it. And I'm a little worried about this little freeze plug down here. It seemed a little loose. I kind of pounded around on it. That might leak on us, so foreshadowing. I don't know yet. We'll find out though. So I'm gonna pop this back together. It's as simple as put the needle valve, open your floats, open this little springy deal. Drop that in, your little valve. Drop that, drop your floats. Take your bowl, make sure the adjuster is facing the engine. Take this hole here and line it up. It's kind of tapered to help guide it in there. Make sure your gasket's in place and put your screws back in. And we'll be ready to install this and see what happens. For anyone that was wondering, the little screw up here, it seems to be a hole that goes straight on through, and it was a 1.25 turns. And while we're at it, there are 2 little jets up in here. There are a lot of jets in this thing. There's one there, and there's one off to the side. Okay, I think that's it. Let's get this reinstalled and see if she starts. To be honest, I think we're about ready to give this a try. Previous owner gave me this modified gas can with a little nozzle so it can be a drop tank. I'm just going to hook that at the end of this hose and throw it up front, and we'll see what happens here. Okay, I have the makeshift tank hooked up, going to the carburetor. There should be fuel flowing to there. I'm trying to have the wiring rigged up. I think this is the on-off switch. It's either that or headlights. Maybe this is for the on-off. I'm not totally sure. Didn't really follow the wire. We're gonna hook up the auto gen. They sent me this to test out. So this will really be the first test for this bigger one. Hopefully it'll start this up. Let's see what we get. I'll put you here in view of the muffler so you can see the giant nest pop out of the back. So I'm sure something's built a nest in there over time. Now remember, it's a 2-stroke. This should sound pretty good. The jump pack, the boost button, possibly on. The other way. Throttle. Okay. The auto halogen is not happy about that. It's flashing at me. It had its few cranks. Now it needs to rest. And we're going to try the other set of wires because apparently that one, I guess, didn't do anything. We'll have to check the spark too, but we'll hook the other two wires together first and we'll see what happens. Well, something I did blew a fuse out. I don't know if this fuse was just ready to go or what. I gotta see if I got another one of these laying around. Okay, day number 2, we're going to give this another try. I messed around with the fuel pump, kind of cleaned up in there. It wasn't bad, but I think I'm going to need to replace some seals and rebuild it. Looked it up for about 12, 15 bucks. I can get new gaskets for it, so that's good. Tried charging the battery. Let's see if that did anything. Contact. Well, battery holds charge, that's good. Let's try choke. Not a fan of this, but let's try a little ether. Well, we have a runner. Boy, that's awfully loud. Not much of an idle circuit to it. Wow. Cool, we have a runner. I just don't have a way to kill it. That's, I need an off switch in case this thing runs away. I mean, I guess we can give it another go like that. Something still ain't quite right here. I think it's something to do with one of the adjustments more than anything. Okay, that definitely was not what I wanted. Okay, we're gonna do this again because the GoPro decided to shut off as soon as it started up. The worst thing about leaving this thing on. The choke was on, so up is on for the choke and down is off. Choke shut it off. Smoky. All right, success. Well, now that we know we have a runner, it sounds pretty good, I think. We're going to come over to the fuel tank. The fuel tank is located here in the front. And how this comes out, there are 4 screws. There's one there, one there, one there, one there. And they have nuts on the bottom. Don't know how well you can see, but up underneath here, this tank looks like it's stainless. So I'm hoping it'll be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this out of here. Well, I've got it out of there. This here was kind of rigged on underneath that wire, holding everything together. It was welded at one point. Stainless steel. The tank sure looks like it's stainless steel. Down in there is not very good, but we go lower and yeah, maybe you can see that. It looks pretty clean. This rod, I'm going to try and get that maneuvered out of there. It's pretty, yeah, green looking. But I'm definitely going to throw some gas down it, slosh it around, and try and clean it up. I can still smell some of the old 2-stroke. Here's the exit port for it. So we'll get that cleaned up and back in there, and then yeah, this should really be ready to go. We get some tires on it. Oh, don't you just love black coffee? Oh, that was not coffee. Did I get you? No, but that really is how dark the gas I threw in that tank came out as. That was clean going in after sloshing it around. That's what it turned into. So I need to do a bit more flushing on it. Okay, we skipped ahead a little bit. A lot of things were fighting me. Got this wheel off. We're leaving it off. We're just going to run with 2 on this side. This front one won't hold air, but it's there for support. These back 2 have air in them. I got the choke hooked up and the throttle down in there. That was not fun because this choke was attached to the body itself, and that was basically get your hands down in here and have fun with it. And the one screw was backwards. I had to turn it around because I don't know why. Previous owner maybe at some point. We just have fuel in it. I've got the strong zip ties and a little bit of wire holding the tank up because the mounts are actually missing for it. And we're going to see if this thing will fire up and drive. Notice I moved the Falcon forward. I don't want this thing ramming. Well, maybe the Falcon will have been better than ramming into the house. Hopefully it doesn't go very far. Okay, wish us luck. We're going to see if this will fire up. I don't even know. Could be the fuel pumps, John. I'm going to choke it. Give her some drink. Okay, I'm going to put a little gas down the carb. Okay, I think I got the choke off. And of course the choke didn't pull out when I needed it to. I gotta figure out what the shut-off switch is for this. Sorry everyone, you're missing a lot of work, but at the same time, it's taking me a lot of time. It's pretty tedious working up underneath there. So this time, I'm pointed out towards the field in case we have another issue where this thing decides to take off and I can't get it to stop, and still can't figure out what is supposed to kill it. Crossing none of these wires, it makes some sparks, but nothing's killing the coil. So we may have to figure something out there, but I kind of fixed the throttle. It needs, I don't know, it looks like a bolt should be going all the way through it, but that's not how this is set up. It's pretty sloppy, but it works. It pushes fairly easy. I pushed it out here, but still a little bit of a workout. So yeah, we're gonna fire it up and see what happens. Worst case, if I can't get it stopped, there's a tree line there, there's a creek behind that, because I'd rather not run into somebody's house or my new shed, or we're going to go the safe route if this thing decides to get away from me. So here we go. Gosh, I've never had a choke cable be such a pain to get on there. Well, I scuffed the tree just a little bit, but I'm okay. That is exactly why I did it, pointed towards this field. I lost all control of it. We don't have brakes left or right. I can't turn at all on this thing. So yeah, so we'll get the tractor and pull this back, and we're gonna have to dive into that transmission. We have nothing at all going on. But hey, I got to go for a ride in it. Got all the footage I can, right? Boy, look at that front wheel. I noticed that earlier. She was a little off camber. I don't know if I made it worse. I'm not sure. She's a little but she was that way earlier when I was looking at it. Check the bolts, they're all tight, so it's probably not the first time this thing's hit something. I can almost guarantee that, but yeah. Get this thing so we can roll her in here. It actually worked really good. That front spindle got stuck underneath here in a low spot, and then it came out just when I needed it to, so it all worked out. If you can't tell, I drive a forklift a fair amount. That's the only reason I was good enough to maneuver this thing around like that.